It's one of those memory dredgers.
We prefer corroborators.
Police things, aren't they?
Not since last year. We will have them now. Hey, may I?
Hi everyone, I'm Lucy.
And I'm Tamoor.
And we've just watched the Black Mirror Season 4 episode, Crocodile, which is the bleakest episode, I think, of all of the episodes of Black Mirror. It actually ruined us when we watched it at work. We're here to break it down for you, go over all the Easter eggs that you might have missed, as much as it pains me to say that, because I have to think about this episode again and how bleak it was.
Please remember to subscribe to GameSpot Universe. We have got breakdowns for every single episode in Season 4 of Black Mirror. So subscribe and hit like on every single video on GameSpot Universe, because that would make us very happy, probably.
And we need to be made happy right now, because we are super bummed out about Crocodile.
It's bad news.
It's my favourite episode of the season, but it is also the bleakest. So, shall we?
If we have to.
So the main theme mostly of Crocodile is how they're using neurotechnology for witnesses who have witnessed crimes, but then they're using what appears to be like an objective piece of technology, because people think that their memories record things exactly how it happened, when in reality that is absolutely not the case.
Yeah,
and our memories are subject to so many different forms of bias. This is where our psychology learning comes to shine. You have to think about the morality of essentially invading someone's brain.
Yeah, because you have traditional rules set up, for example. Like,
You have no other evidence other than this memory.
Yeah, so if you take something like exists now, which is like, you know, patient-doctor confidentiality, like that's a thing that is sacred, and it's a question you have now. Like I think in current law, if it's borders onto criminality, doctors are enabled to tell people about it, but it's a similar kind of conundrums. And so we should probably talk about what actually happens in Crocodile. So it opens with two characters called Mia and what dude who dies very quick,
Rob,
or vanishes forever for a really long time that I don't remember. But like, so they're driving along, it's all great. One of them's drunk-ish.
Yeah, Rob's driving, and they've been at this all-night rave. He is still under the influence, and he hits a cyclist.
Yeah, and his immediate reaction, because he's an absolute 110% wrong'un, is to cover it up. Like, get the body and chuck it in the water and hope that it never comes back.
That person isn't dead, so regardless, they kill him. They kill the person by chucking them into the river, and they get a sleeping bag and stuff it with rocks, and it's basically, the whole episode is how things can spiral, and what would you do to cover up the worst mistake of your life.
Repercussions of something like that coming back to you. And so like we fast forward and we have Mia, who's now successful.
She's an architect. She's building a new, like a housing development that's kind of promising, you know, a peaceful life. It's sustainable, that kind of thing. And she's giving speeches. She has a family. She has a husband and a child. And she's basically put this whole thing behind her. Unfortunately, Rob has discovered a different way.
Yeah, I mean, he's not doing as well.
He's quit alcohol.
Yeah, he's down on his luck still, even having quit alcohol, mainly because he can't kick the memories of what they did. He's not been as successful as sweeping it under the rug as Mia has, and it plagues him.
It certainly feels like she's compartmentalized it.
Yeah.
And he can't do that at all.
Yeah, so then she's you know, she's here to give a speech and, you know, present at a conference. And the incident that happens, that is the actual thing being investigated, is a pizza delivery truck.
Poor guy.
Yeah, an automated pizza delivery truck is kind of like just cruising along the road, and like an unwitting pedestrian steps out in front of it, and there's a small collision. So it's an insurance thing, basically. But someone is sent out, Shazi, a character, is sent out to kind of figure it out and see where the liabilities lie and how much damages a person can get out of it. And she does that by using the device called a recall device.
Yes. But unfortunately, just before the guy gets hit with the pizza van, Mia and Rob have an altercation. He wants to write to the family of the person that they killed to confess. And obviously she can't have that because it will ruin
her career,
everything she's worked for. She can't let one mistake define her life. And she gets some kind of superhuman power and basically just kills him, like knocks him to the ground and like bludgeons him.
She does beg him not to, and he's like adamant that it's going to happen. So I think it's that superhuman power superhuman power we all have, adrenaline and fight or flight. But it also kind of speaks to the nature of Mia. Like in that early moment, we come away thinking Rob is the wrong one, but the way she behaves in that moment, the way she's able to go from just being normal and trying to hash it out to killing this person, killing Rob, it teases to you that she might not have all been there either. Like there's something clearly wrong with her as well. Or it could have been, sadly, that moment that they had at the start of the episode could have twisted her personality into what she's become now.
That's the sliding doors moment.
Yeah, so they're like, she's seen how easy it is to get away with murder. She's managed to do it. And now she's thinking, maybe just once more I can do it and I can have, life go on as normal. Of course, it doesn't go that way.
No, so Shazi's there to try and get to the bottom of what happened with the pizza van incident, and in doing so, she interviews a bunch of witnesses with the recaller. So the recaller kind of, goes onto a temple. It seems that in kind of like the timeline of Black Mirror, if you assume that everything is in a kind of shared universe, it's not as sophisticated as the grain that comes later, that from the entire history of you, where they can see, like everything that happened that's completely recorded perfectly. It's very subjective, which is why when Shazi's taking it to the witnesses, she waves beer under their nose because the street smelled like hops that night, for example. And she plays a certain song, which if you're a Black Mirror fan, you will recognize, to kind of jog their memories because that was playing out of a car.
Yeah.
I like that song.
And in doing so, she interviews all these people, and she discovers another witness who hasn't maybe come forward yet, which is Mia. And this is the bit where kind of the legal, moral lines are kind of blurred, because Mia is drunk, because she had like a full half bottle of wine in one go. And when Shazi comes to visit her, she's tracked her down. She is only there about the pizza incident, but Mia now has 2 murders under her belt. One of them very recent, and that will be the one that's also associated with the memories she formed about the pizza van, because they all happened at the same time. Shazi unfortunately sees these memories, and Mia goes, well, I've done it twice, I can do it one more time.
Yeah, so like it, and just to backtrack a bit, they're kind of talking about subjectivity and how it can all be kind of like skewed and misinterpreted. Shazi's actually piecing this all together using different perspectives of the same incident. There's kind of like a daisy chain effect of how many times has this kind of incident been changed, Chinese whisper style, to lead her to that point. And there's also some stuff mentioned at various points about the legality of and how it's used. So it used to be created for like the police, they were using it, but it's since been decommissioned from the police, is that right?
Well, the police still use it because they use it at the end, there's like a special unit. But it seems like this is the point where the technology is becoming more and more mainstream, which is why we think it's the precursor to the grain, because it's now being used by insurance people, and that you can obviously see that bleeding down into the general population.
So it's not the entire police force that has access to use it, it's very specific agencies that can, justify using it. So insurance agencies and that specific team that comes in towards the end to try and piece together what happens at the end of the episode. So that is kind of like, we have that moment where Mia's like, I'm gonna kill Shazi now. And then that's where things really, really get worse. It's pretty bad to start with. Like she's killed 2 people and seemingly shows no remorse for it. But here's where it kind of spirals out of control, and this is what the ramifications when they kind of take over your life and turn you into a completely different person. And a lot of that, you could argue, is because of the technology that was used to push her into a corner.
Yeah, so she uses the recaller on Shazi to see if anyone knew where she was going. Unfortunately, she told her husband, so Mia realizes, I'm gonna have to kill him too, so she kills Shazi, takes her car keys, and unfortunately, this is like a very interesting little foible, is that with technology, is that of course her GPS has home programmed into it, and so Mia knows exactly where her family is, goes, kills him in the bath.
And you can do that in modern technology. Don't do that on Uber. Don't be setting your home address on Uber. It's a bad idea.
And then, sadly, as Mia is leaving, she thinks she's covered all of her tracks. She notices one more witness to the crime, which is Shazi's child.
Infant child.
infant child. I think he's
Yeah.
like 2 years old.
He's like 2 or 3 years old.
Still in a crib, and of course there is the horrifying, horrific moment where she's just standing staring, and you kind of see her resign herself to
Yeah.
have to do it, so she kills the child as well.
And then there's the revelation that the child was actually blind and never saw a thing because she's blind.
Yeah.
So that's the moment where you could see that she'd clearly detached herself when she killed Mia's husband. And then when she killed the child, she goes that one step further into being a monster, just a pure monster. And the fact that she's able to switch that off moments later and go to see her own child's play,
Yep.
that shows you like she's fully in like serial killer murder territory in terms of psychology and mindset. The ability to compartmentalize, detach from victims, and do heinous crimes like kill a child who's not even asleep, like the kid's looking right at you.
Yeah.
So-
And the way she gets caught is because the recaller doesn't just work on humans, it works on animals, and Shazi and her husband had bought a little gerbily hamster thing for their child, and that's how they find Mia, because they have facial recognition software that matches her face, and that's how she gets caught. But really, even though she gets caught, my God.
She's killed so many people, and it just spiraled out of control from one moment in her
instant.
distant past. Don't lie. Don't do it.
Don't kill people.
Lies beget more lies.
Don't kill people.
Yeah, also, don't do that unless you absolutely have to.
No. All right, let's try and get over how depressing the episode was by pointing out the things that we noticed.
So if you're a Black Mirror fan, you will have noticed the use of Irma Thomas's Anyone Who Knows What Love Is, which frequently pops up throughout the series. It's seen before in 15 Million Merits, sung by Abby on the TV show Hot Shot. And then it was seen in White Christmas, being sung at karaoke. It was also in Men Against Fire.
Another thing we noticed but haven't got to the bottom of yet is that Shazi is eating peppermints, just like Bella does in Metalhead. Although Shazi doesn't have to use them to try and escape from a crazed killer dog.
So, this accesses engrams, your memories of what happened.
Engrams, not just a thing in Destiny. So in neuropsychology, biophysical or biochemical changes to the brain and neurotissue in response to external stimuli is how memories are stored. So that's a little insight into how the recaller might work.
You'll also notice on Mia's desk there is a PlayStation VR headset.
So FencersPizza.net is actually the same company that delivers pizza in USS Callister to distract Daily when they're hatching their master plan to escape his weird VR world.
So the comic book / nerd store Outpost 21 is also shares its name with a very notable player-created map in Doom. Now the description on this map reads, on the surface, Outpost 21 appears to be a peaceful complex that provides its small team of dedicated scientists with living quarters, research labs, and recreational facilities. However, not even the aliens who recently inhabited Outpost 21 were aware of the dark and dirty secrets that lie beneath. So this is very interesting because Mia's company are building this kind of development settlement for people, and it's meant to be kind of futuristic living, cheap, sustainable living, but underneath the building site is the body of Rob. Is he the darkness that lurks underneath?
Okay, so before Shazi dies, she says something, and it's actually an Islamic prayer, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, which means we belong to God and to God we will return.
And finally, I don't think it's any coincidence that Mia's son is in a production of Bugsy Malone. At the end, when the police come to get her, they're just finished singing, "We could have been anything we wanted to be," just like all of those people that Mia murdered. They had their entire lives in front of them before she ended those
And
lives.
she could have continued to be anything she wanted to be.
If she hadn't made that one mistake.
So, final thoughts on this episode.
I really like it. I like the way that it kind of bridges the gap between how you get from the beginning of neural technology, as we see in Black Mirror, for example, maybe in Black Museum, compared to where you get it at the end, where you see how sophisticated it is with the grain. but also it is just a relentlessly depressing episode. But I think also it might be the one that perfectly encapsulates what the heart and soul of Black Mirror is.
Yeah, it does it without, there's an element of exaggeration in a lot of Black Mirror episodes in when it tries to take technology and kind of deliver a message, a cutting commentary on it. This one, perhaps more than the others in this season and in the previous seasons, it seems within reach, and because of that, the kind of fallout of everything that can happen negatively, that is also within reach, which is scary.
This is also the episode that made me feel like Charlie Brooker needs a hug.
Connie Huck, what you doing? Give your man a hug.
But seriously, if you want to watch our breakdowns of the rest of season 4 of Black Mirror, then make sure to look around here on the GameSpot Universe YouTube channel. We've broken down every episode from season 4. We have a spoiler-free review of the whole series. We have ranked our favourites and least favourite episodes. And we have some fan theories about how everything's going to tie together. In the meantime, you can find me on Twitter. I'm at Lucy James Games.
I'm at Tamoor H.
And we'll see you next time.
Goodbye.
I'm still sad.
Thanks.